All right, ladies and gentlemen, the first injury report here in week 14 for the Green Bay Packers just came out with a ton of important injury updates ahead of this Packers versus Bears matchup in Green Bay. The first time the Packers will be taking on the Chicago Bears. Then, of course, we play them yet again in just a couple of weeks. On this injury report, there are 18 total players, but don't be too alarmed. It's a long list because there are 4 players added to the report that are potentially returning from injured reserve. So big updates for some potential backup for this Green Bay Packers football team, but this injury report does include 3 did not participate, and we also have a new roster signing to go over. If this sort of thing does interest you and you want your Packers news, analysis, updates all in one spot, you'll find everything here for your Green Bay Packers, so definitely go down and click that subscribe button. Around 50% of my viewers are not subscribed. You may not even be subscribed without knowing, so take a quick look and do me a favor and click that subscribe button. It takes 2 seconds. It's free to do, and it helps support my channel a ton. All right, so let's dive right down into this thing, and let's bring up the injury report on the screen. And first, let's go over the 4 players that are designated to return from IR or have opened their practice window. The first one that we already knew about was Jayden Reed from his foot/shoulder injury. Then we'll go back to the top here. We see Brenton Cox Jr. has been designated to return, opening his 21-day practice window with a groin injury. He was limited today. And we have Marshawn Lloyd, running back, calf injury. He still exists. He is designated to return from IR, opening his 21-day practice window. And Colin Oliver with his hamstring injury, a guy that we haven't seen practice at all since being drafted to Green Bay. So first, let's dive down into Jayden Reed, who had a chance to play against the Lions, but it made some sense the Packers holding him out. Matt LaFleur talked about it on Monday, saying once he's medically cleared, he'll play. So that kind of signals that he wasn't cleared just yet to play against the Lions. But there's a clip from today's practice. I'll put it up on the screen of Jayden Reed running kind of a diamond release slant route. And he looks good. Obviously recovering from the foot issue was kind of his early injury in the season. And then while playing on that, injured his shoulder, broke his collarbone. And obviously that's more of the concern here, I would think, in terms of getting medically cleared. But in terms of the clip on the screen, I mean, he looks crisp. He looks fast. It looks like he has a lot of burst. So that's really good to see. And I do think the Packers end up getting Jayden Reed back on this offense this week, week 14 versus the Bears. Next on the top of the screen, Brenton Cox Jr. Would be nice to get him back sooner rather than later, with Lucas Van Ness re-injuring his foot, and he's one of the did not participate. We'll talk about him in a second. Brenton Cox Jr. was a big player in terms of the rotation of edge rushers on this defense, and it would be nice to have him in that room as well. Marshawn Lloyd, I'll also put a clip up on the screen to prove to you guys that he's alive and he still exists. Now, I'm not going to get my hopes up and say Marshawn Lloyd is going to be ready to go this week, and we're going to see him in action finally, because this is the first time he's practiced, I think, since preseason week 2, and obviously we know the injuries stem way before that, where we've really never seen him on the field. Just a glimpse of him, I think, week 2 last year against the Colts, and then some preseason snaps this year, and that's really it. I know that LaFleur mentioned a couple weeks back that Marshawn Lloyd went out west, kind of similar to what Christian Watson did a couple years ago, to get his body right and figure some things out, and maybe why he keeps getting these soft tissue injuries. So hopefully that worked for the better, and this is the last time we're going to have this whole Marshawn Lloyd debacle. Now, the Packers are pretty set at running back. Emmanuel Wilson has more than enough shown that he can be a capable backup running back, even a starting back in this league. But I think, you can never have enough talent and running backs, obviously. And it'd be nice to see Marshawn Lloyd added into the mix. So we'll see what happens. He was limited today with that calf injury. And then the final one is Colin Oliver, a player that shows a ton of versatility, a guy that Oklahoma State played at defensive end. He played at off-ball linebacker, and that's something that I highlighted in a video right after we drafted him, that this guy has a ton of versatility, and I'm very excited to see what the Packers are going to be able to do with him. Now, do I expect him to go see some defensive snaps this season? Probably not. He might be a healthy scratch, and if he's not, he's going to be mainly just a special teamer bearing any crazy injuries. But it's still very interesting to hopefully get him back into the mix, start practicing into the rotation of things. But the future I am very interested in for Colin Oliver. Now for the rest of the injury report, the did not participate. As I mentioned, there's 3 today, one being Lucas Van Ness with his foot injury. It was released Monday that he tried to return from the injury, played in 6 snaps, said he wasn't ready yet, and now he's back to not practicing, unfortunately. I really liked what I saw from Lucas Van Ness to start this season, so it is really unfortunate to see him not able to play just yet. Maybe we'll be able to get him later in the season, towards the end of the season, into the playoffs. That would be a nice, reinforcement to get on that defensive line. The 2 other did not participate, Savion Williams and Devontae Wyatt. Obviously, Wyatt's going to be placed on IR. The Packers, again, we'll talk about it here in a second, just signed a defensive lineman off the Giants practice squad. Devontae Wyatt will be placed on IR. He's no chance of returning in 2025 or early 2026, so he'll be placed on IR. And then Savion Williams' foot injury. I feel like the past three weeks did not participate on Wednesday. Now, obviously, didn't play in that Lions game, so it's not a great sign to yet again see did not participate the first day of practice after missing a week already. So something to monitor going forward. Now, go from the top to bottom. Everyone else is either limited or full, mostly limited, except Jordan Love. Carl Brooks, ankle injury, limited. Javon Bullard, ankle, limited. Edgerrin Cooper, shoulder, limited. Matthew Golden, wrist injury, limited. So he returns to practice as well, aims to return here in week 14. Nate Hobbs, knee injury, limited. Josh Jacobs, knee injury, limited. Jordan Love, left shoulder, the only full participation on here. That's obviously great to see. Barron Sorrell, ankle, limited. Zach Tom, back injury, limited. Quay Walker, neck, limited. He aims to potentially make his return against the Bears, but Isaiah McDuffie has filled in really nicely at that linebacker, at that Mike spot for him. And then finally, Tay Wicks, ankle limited, coming off probably his best game as a Green Bay Packer. It'd be really nice to get Jaden Reed back into the mix. If Tay Wicks continues this, type of production and play, I mean, this offense can really start to take off. It already kind of has. So just adding more pieces into this offense, more weapons, more opportunities, more things that Matt LaFleur can scheme up is obviously, a big thing for this offense and can help it a ton. All right, so now we want to talk about the new signing for the Green Bay Packers, as well as take a look at the Detroit Lions injury report quickly before we do so. Big shout out to Sleeper for being this year's channel sponsor. Go check them out. Link down in the description. Use code BASS when signing up, making a first-time deposit. Get that matched 100%. Up to $100. Here are my picks for the upcoming Thursday night football game, Cowboys versus Lions. First, I have a free pick, Dak Prescott, half a passing yard, CeeDee Lamb, anytime touchdown, George Pickens, more than 5.5 receptions, and Jahmyr Gibbs, more than 70 rushing yards. Let me know your picks for the upcoming Thursday night football game or your upcoming Sunday football picks over on Sleeper. And if you haven't checked them out, definitely go do so with the link down in the description. Again, big shout out to Sleeper. All right, so now back into the video. The player that the Green Bay Packers have signed some defensive lineman help is defensive lineman Jordan Riley. They signed from the New York Giants practice squad to their active roster. And another roster move, the Packers also re-signed Will Shepard to their practice squad, was active for that game. Then the Packers released him earlier this week. Now he's back on the practice squad. As for Riley, the defensive lineman, he is a big run-stuffing style defensive lineman. 6'5", 338 pounds, a third-year player. Was selected by the New York Giants in the 7th round of the 2023 draft. He's played in 21 games with 5 starts for the Giants from 2023 to 2024, recording 12 tackles, 3 tackles for a loss, and a quarterback hit. He spent this entire season on the Giants practice squad, and he also went to University of North Carolina, where he saw action in 44 different games. So just some help onto this defensive line. Obviously, the Packers have Warren Brinson that's going to have to step up into really that Devontae Wyatt role. Carl Brooks as well. We have Nazir Stackhouse. We still have Colby Wooden, but we definitely needed some help down low in the interior of that defensive line. It's a shame Lucas Van Ness still can't practice, because I thought that's something they could do with him, kind of kick him more inside. But getting nice, needed depth to this defensive line with someone like Jordan Riley was a must. All right, so now to quickly go over the Chicago Bears injury report, a much smaller list. As usual, whenever we go against an opponent, it's usually a smaller list. The Packers just have an extremely long injury report list. So to quickly go over it, actually the Bears didn't practice today. It was an estimation, but they still listed these players with their designations. Andrew Billings, concussion, full participation. TJ Edwards, linebacker, hand/hamstring, limited. Ruben Hippolyte II, linebacker, shoulder, did not participate. We have Jalen Johnson, defensive back, groin, full participation. Kyle Monangai, something to monitor for the rest of this week. Ankle injury, did not participate. We know how much they've been utilizing him and DeAndre Swift on this offense as of late. Rome Odunze, foot injury, did not participate. Dominique Robinson, concussion, full participation. Noah Sewell, linebacker, elbow, full participation. And then finally, Tyreek Stevenson, defensive back, hip injury, did not participate. So that is the first injury report here in Week 14 for the Green Bay Packers versus Chicago Bears. So excited for this game. Obviously, all eyes are on this game in regards to the NFC North. The Bears at the top of the NFC North right now, at the top of the NFC, one of the hottest teams in the NFL. But the Green Bay Packers very close behind them. And within the next 3 weeks, the NFC North may just be decided depending on how both of these games go against the Chicago Bears. So really appreciate you guys coming by to the channel. We'll have the final injury report on Friday with all the injury designations, the final designations, so be on the lookout for that. Also the game preview on Friday, and then of course we'll be live during the game here on Sunday on this channel. So definitely swing on by for Friday and also Sunday. Really appreciate you stopping by. I'll catch you on the next one, and as always, go Pack Go.